Kuzo Zangbo and welcome to Bhutan This Week with me, Isha Gelson. Our top stories this week. His Majesty the King graces the opening of the 9th session of the Second Parliament. Bhutan Taxi Association officially formed. And normalcy begins to set in for the victims of fire disaster in Nanglam. His Majesty the King graced the opening of the 9th session of the Second Parliament. The Prime Minister, Cabinet Ministers and Members of Parliament received His Majesty in a traditional Chibral ceremony at the Gyelyong Sokhang.
The National Assembly Speaker, Jimmy Zangpo, on behalf of the parliamentarians, expressed gratitude to His Majesty the King for gracing the ceremony and for His Majesty's unwavering and continuous support. The Parliament will deliberate on adoption of Annual National Budget for 2017 and 2018, Third Pay Commission's report, Anti-Money Laundering and Countering Financing of Terrorism Bill 2017, Bhutan Information, Communications and Media Bill 2016, Marriage Bill and report of the Anti-Corruption Commission. The Speaker also shared to the gathering that Bhutan will host a 3-day Asian Parliamentary Assembly at the end of August this year. The Parliament will deliberate on the 5 disputed clauses of the Customs Bill and on 15 disputed clauses of the BBIN Agreement in the joint sitting tomorrow. The opening session was also graced by Their Royal Highnesses the Princesses. The Parliament session will end on June 20. With additional reporting from Changadoji, this is Sunampem for BBS News.
The joint sitting of the Parliament passed the Customs Bill 2017. Out of 5 disputed clauses between the two houses, the joint sitting removed 2 sections, amended 1 and retained the 2 original sections.
The joint sitting was held upon the grant of the Royal Kasho to deliberate on disputed clauses. However, the joint sitting unanimously passed the Customs Bill. The only section that sparked extensive deliberation today was on the allowances, benefits and other emoluments of the customs officials. Members of the Joint Committee said this action was not necessary.
We
discussed that if any departments and agencies require allowances and benefits, the government will look into it. We already have a system in place where the Pay Commission puts up a proposal and the government approves it. So if such clause is included, it will hinder the government's decision in future. So we decided to repeal this clause. All the customs personnel are civil servants. Since the entitlement of allowances and benefits for every civil and public servant are clearly mentioned in the Article 30 and Section 2 of the Constitution, it is not necessary to mention
The House decided to remove the section. The bill was passed with all the 69 members present voting in favor of the bill. With additional information from Pasang Doji, this is Pasa for BBS News.
To pay respect and honor teachers across the country, National Teachers' Day was observed in Pinsuling. Prime Minister Sering Tobgay joined nearly 500 teachers to observe the day.
Education Minister Nubu Ongchu received the teachers with qadar. He wished everyone a very happy Teachers' Day at the entrance. Prime Minister highlighted the importance of May 2nd to the teachers. He said, as His Majesty the Third Rugelpo assured Bhutan towards modernization, teachers play the similar role to build the nation.
Our children, you teach our children, you love our children, at the expense many times of your own children. Your own children must forego your immediate love and attention so that you can take care of other people's children. And indeed, most of you relegate the care of your own children to other teachers, because this is the nature of the so-called noble profession. It involves a lot of sacrifices. I want to take a moment to thank you for your sacrifices.
Over 300 lucky prizes were also given to the teachers. Teachers were very happy and grateful for recognizing their efforts.
Celebrating the Teachers' Day at the national level is an indication of recognition of we teachers. We are very happy and it encourages us to work even harder and serve the country.
Even there I find very difficult to express my words in words. And I feel very happy and to be a teacher, spending my life 36 years here.
Cultural program, a monologue play and comedy show further enthralled the teachers. This is the second Teachers' Day celebrated at the national level. For Sonam Benjur in Phunsuling, Phup Game for BBS News.
The Journalists Association of Bhutan held the 3rd Annual Journalism Award coinciding with the World Press Freedom Day. Prime Minister Sering Tobgay graced the event.
21 journalists from various media organizations won the awards. Some 50 entries were submitted for the awards. 47-year-old Karma Dubchu won the Jigme Singye Wangchuk Prestigious Journalism Award. The award recognizes the contribution of a senior journalist for more than 10 years and continues to practice journalism even today. Karma Dubchu joined the service in 1985 and for the last 3 decades he has been documenting important moments in the history of Bhutan through his lens.
I have never even dreamt of such recognition and award. If we dedicate and serve the nation wholeheartedly, the outcome is inevitable. To the young journalists, you don't always have to report news through writings, but even through photography.
But some television journalists were not happy since there was no separate category for Dzongkha documentaries and programs unlike the print media. The Prime Minister also took the opportunity to talk about the jump in the Press Freedom Index, which many journalists earlier said means nothing.
People saying, how can we be free when we are not getting paid? Sustainability and freedom are 2 different things. How can we be free when senior journalists are leaving? If senior journalists are leaving, I keep saying, for greener pastures and are not being chased by management, chased out by management, by the private sector, by the government. If they are going out to earn more money, I think we should applaud it.
Prime Minister also said he expects to see more entries next year. With additional information from Pema Sultan Sringdandu for BBS News.
Taxi drivers in the country now have an association to look into their welfare. The Information and Communications Minister D.N. Dungel formally launched the Bhutan Taxi Association.
ngachi nangonalu te ngachi da jikhalu tindu chesu ngachi ki chap chesuji te mindu bala ta.
The association is mainly for the welfare of taxi drivers in the country because so far there has been no such body. It will help in addressing issues concerning taxi drivers.
ngachi tab ma de gachi jundi beru te ngachi na association gi khadole ngachi tukla khor chokpa gi sikchang khadole be ngachi ki japjur gachi goru te ngachi na phini dele te dishi chu bebi se shudola.
The association was formed after consulting taxi drivers across the country. It took the founding members 5 months. The association has already nominated its representatives in all the Dzongkhoks. For now, the Bhutan Taxi Association has about 40 registered members. They said such an association will prove beneficial. A taxi driver will have to pay a nominal fee to become a member to the association.
The tukingi kengil mahashura ngachigi the deyobsu the gara ngachigi taxi the ngachigi the lakhor dangmali bendigi.
For instance, if a taxi meets with an accident, then the representative of the area of accident will come for help. The association will compensate for the damages suffered. We have set criteria for such entitlements to our members.
팀디 같이 나날이 쌈디 예세 주들라
아제 라크로 소바 미베 deputy 넘스메 강리라 감사 정가리 보토리 도아치치고
Earlier, without such an association, it was difficult finding help during times of accident along the way. But now, after becoming a member, it will be convenient as we can call Dzongkhok representatives for help.
A similar association was once formed in 2003, but got dissolved. It was not official, and moreover, it was mostly focused on the welfare of the taxi drivers of Thimphu. Today, there are over 7,000 taxis across the country. Choni Dama for BBS News.
Expect to see fewer cars dropping students at the Yangchenfu and Lungten Samba schools henceforth. Thimphu Tromde and City Bus Service have started providing city bus services to the students. The pilot project, which was to begin in April, is a joint effort towards easing traffic congestion at the Lungten Samba area.
All smiles as they step off the buses. Students very much welcomed the initiative. Otherwise a costly affair both in terms of time and safety, this bus service initiative doesn't require the parents to reach them to schools. Over 800 students from the two schools expressed their interest in using the bus service.
I think the city bus service is helpful because it reduces traffic and our parents don't have to come here to drop us, so I think it's convenient.
Before the city bus service, we would have our parents come to drop us to the school, but now since the service is there, it's more efficient for us and our parents.
It's a great idea, especially my children. I have 1,460 students in Yangchenfu. Out of these, almost 500 are been registered for the city bus service facility. Number one, it is going to reduce the traffic congestion, and then students will be able to come on time in the school. That's number one. Number two, and then also in line with the safety of the children, because quite often our children are there are cases of hit and run cases.
Thimphu Thompekile Doji said decongesting traffic at the area has been a priority for the Thomde. Traffic congestion has become annoying for students and motorists alike.
Initiative we have carried out mainly for Yangchenfu and Lungten Samba, looking at the congestion that is happening here on ground between 8 to 8:30 in the morning. So this is also to look at safety of our children. You know, the cars, our students, they're all rushing together, and there are high chances that accidents can happen and it could cost life. So therefore we started with Yangchenfu and Lungten Samba primarily because area is congested.
14 buses will carry the students from 7 locations.
For students, we have a special discount of 30% on the ticket. Therefore, the students have to avail the prepaid card depending on their choice, 3 months, 6 months, or for about a year. So it will depend upon their affordability.
And those children who have not registered for the service, private cars won't be allowed to pick and drop students from the school parking. They will have to walk from Chalimitang parking area. There are over 2,500 students in the two schools. Similar services will be introduced in other schools in Thimphu if this initiative is a success. Puk Game for BBS News.
Royal Insurance Corporation of Bhutan paid 5.4 million ngultram as insurance claim to the house owners affected by the recent windstorm in Punakha. It is so far the highest amount paid by the corporation in the Dzongkhag.
Strong winds blew away roofs of around 300 houses on 16th of last month. 8 gyok in Punakha were affected by the windstorm. Kabisa gyok the worst. The RICB office responded to the disaster immediately from day one and carried out assessment. The office started paying insurance claims 10 days later.
Upon getting the intimations from the geogs, so we have immediately deployed our employees for the assessment of the claim. It's now the rainy season is about to start, so we thought that after deploying our employees immediately in the affected areas, we would be able to compensate on time, and then the affected person would benefit from our compensation.
Over 187 homes received the money under Rural House Insurance Scheme. It was mostly for the new CGI sheets, cracked walls and damaged beams. However, for a few remaining homes, the office is conducting reassessment and would be receiving cash soon. For Komal Kharka in Punakha, this is Pasa, BBS News.
Owners of Kungtong or empty homes in Lumang Geog in Trashigang will now have to deposit 3,000 ngultram every year to the Geog. The amount will be used for paying taxes. This is also for not being able to attend the local meetings and other requirements of the Geog. This is being done to encourage people to return to villages and address the problems of Kungtong.
Many houses but abandoned. There are 85 empty homes in Lumang Geog alone. People either left for employment, seeking better opportunities, or are living with the children in towns. And it is the ones living in the villages who bear the brunt of empty homes, but not anymore. So-called representatives, along with the Geog administration, decided to ask the owners of empty homes to pay their own taxes, among many others. Only one owner of an empty household came for the meeting. Rest were all representatives.
Even when I call them to send money, they never do it. I have to pay taxes for 2 households. My mother died 12 years ago, and since then I have been paying taxes for land and houses all by myself.
When we become the representative, we have to attend meetings from our side and theirs too. We have to attend meetings, leaving behind our household chores as we have less number of people back home.
The problem of rural-urban migration is not a new tale.
It is difficult to propose for developmental activities when we have fewer households. When we say we need a school, the Education Ministry asks how many households there are, and it's the same with the Health Ministry. With less number of people and homes, developmental works are hampered.
The Geog will now call the owners of empty homes to inform about the change. For Swingzam in Tashigang Kilidem for BBS News.
A little over a month since the fire disaster in Sankari town of Nganglam, normalcy begins to set in. With supports received at all stages of their time of distress, many of those affected have already embarked on rebuilding their lives.
Although temporary, all 9 affected shopkeepers have a shelter now. While some have already resumed their businesses, others are in the process of doing so. The shopkeepers were not able to salvage any of their belongings during the fire incident last month.
Upon the command of His Majesty, the army and their troops built us shelters within 3 to 4 days. We are very grateful for all the help rendered. It is because of His Majesty the King that our lives have been restored this quick. In other places, people do not receive such support. Everyone here is thankful.
I have been in a state of shock since the incident, but after His Majesty's visit and support we receive in building the shelters, life is getting back to normal.
Unlike other places, we got shelter immediately after the incident. We are grateful to His Majesty and other agencies for the support. Although temporary, this is a gift from His Majesty and we are all happy to receive it.
Along with the shops, the fire also razed 5 houses to the ground and burned down 2 vehicles. Zinkari is about 4 kilometers from Nganglam town towards Pemagassal. For Tiledoji in Pemagassal, Kilidem for BBS News.
Attracting and retaining teachers in the profession is the biggest challenge, not only in schools, but also in the technical and vocational education and training system in the country. This is due to lack of motivation and encouragement. The issue was highlighted during a training for teachers.
Teachers from technical training institutes, including private institutes, said the current system lack motivations such as incentives, study tour and timely promotions.
I think mostly it is something to do with the salary as well, because they get better salary outside the country. And this is, I think, one way which we are lacking, because private sectors cannot afford to give the good salary. Of course, we are trying on level base to give the maximum, but still there are some of the challenges we are facing.
Professional development has to be there. Sending them for further studies, then sending them for workshops, training, and then some research activities. Let them do some research activities, and the government should fund and then give incentives for their research activities.
Some teachers, they do overtime, but this has not been recognized by the authority. Though they do overtime and nobody notices. So this simple thing can add some motivations to our teacher, that awarding what has been done. Another thing can be timely promotions. Another thing can be teacher must be sent to study tours.
One of the resource persons, Patricia Thompson from Australia, said in her country, TVET system is an integral part of the education system and is regarded as the high-profile vocational education.
TAFE New South Wales uses these strategies to attract teachers. They have very good conditions of employment and a very good remuneration package. We have quality teaching resources in the classroom so that the teachers are able to deliver the content. We have very well-resourced classroom environments that are conducive to teaching and learning. We have ongoing professional development to ensure currency and that they continue to improve their teaching skills.
The Labour Ministry has developed a TVET Blueprint 2016, which will guide the development of TVET in Bhutan hereafter. Sonam Churin for BBS News.
That's all for this week. Thank you for joining us.